Let's bring in Mercedes Schlapp, CPAC founder, senior fellow, and former White House strategic communications director, and Liz Peek, syndicated columnist and Fox News contributor. Ladies, good to see you.
Great to see you.
All right, Mercedes, Musk is going to release this information. What are we going to learn on how Twitter was censoring Americans and their free speech?
Look, God only knows, but I can tell you, Sean, during the presidential campaign in 2020, I remember every time any of us who were Trump campaign surrogates would bring up the issue of Hunter Biden and this New York Post story, we were censored by the mainstream press. We couldn't even bring it up because they would say there is no evidence on this. Well, as we know now, Twitter and a lot of these big tech companies, it just showed their involvement in suppressing information that could have changed voters' minds in 2020. Obviously, I think Elon Musk should become Congressman Elon Musk, because he's going to be doing so much of this investigation piece, which I think you're going to see members of the House of Representatives, our Republican majority, take on and further investigate what happened with the Hunter Biden laptop story.
Yeah, Liz, it's Rich at the White House will say this is it could be a vector of misinformation. When we just look back under the last management, it was a vector of misinformation.
Yeah.
The Hunter Biden laptop story, but a lot of stories around COVID and shutdowns. It was a vector for misinformation.
So, Sean, aren't we beginning to see why it is that liberals are so crazy angry that Elon Musk has gotten involved in Twitter? You feel like there's a thread going to be pulled and everything is going to become unraveled. What's going to become unraveled? Yes, the Hunter Biden laptop story. That is a terrible story of censorship and, yes, changing people's minds and possibly changing the election outcome. COVID, holy mackerel. Think of all the issues about COVID, basically shutting down any conflicting opinions on how to treat COVID, on whether shutdowns are a good idea, whether you should wear masks, et cetera. All these stories are so horrifying. And guess what? Elon Musk can't really be put in the same category as a Republican House committee that all Democrats will simply not watch. This is going to be watched. This is going to be felt and heard. And that's what's driving them so completely nuts. Yeah, I think it's great.
Well, I think it's fantastic as well. And I think what's interesting is obviously a private company, some will say, can censor speech or they see fit. They're private. But when the government gets involved and tries to censor speech, that's a violation of the First Amendment. Are we going to find out that the FBI was involved, but also other government entities were pressuring Twitter and maybe Facebook and others to suppress speech that they didn't like as Democrats?
Well, we've already seen a little bit of this when you see the FBI getting involved with Facebook and telling them to withhold certain information on a variety of topics. I think especially when you hear Karine Jean-Pierre go out and say, we're going to be watching this closely, that makes me worried, because we know that the White House has colluded with these big tech companies on, for example, as Liz mentioned, COVID misinformation, Sean. This is very problematic. We don't need the White House to intervene in what Elon Musk is doing in Twitter. Elon Musk is allowing for transparency. He's holding these companies accountable. And actually, he's actually the whistleblower within Twitter, cleaning up this company, which we know created so much censorship in taking down conservative voices and really trying to skew the media narrative.
But your point is the right one, which is the government got involved in this in an unwholesome way. Let's put it politely. So the next thing might be encouraging Google, Apple not to allow Twitter on their app store, right?
Exactly.
And that has come up now as an issue. And Elon Musk saying, if need be, I'll make my own phone. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. But there's a lot of bad behavior here, so much frustration on the right that none of it gets out. So perhaps this is the way.
But to that point, maybe to both of you, if you look at social media, whether it was the Google phone or the Apple phone, they were able to take out Parler. That was a new startup app.
Exactly.
They took them off their Play stores, the Apple store, and the company collapsed. And it was a free speech platform. If you go after Elon Musk, he's a billionaire, very wealthy, a lot of power, a lot of influence. He actually could start his own phone and actually be a real threat to Apple and to Google, right?
I can't imagine they'll go that far. But you know that they are considering everything, including having various government entities look at this as a foreign affairs interference kind of issue, or who knows what. I mean, they will stop at nothing to stop Elon Musk. I really believe that.
And these big tech companies, they have way too much power. It's too much of a monopoly in this space. Apple should not be dictating whether they're going to censor Twitter. But God only knows we might end up with like the orange phone at this point.
So think of your Thanksgiving dinner, and the most radical person there are inside of Apple and Google running these companies. I think they're going to do crazy things because they can't stand free speech. But I want to get you guys to comment on this, because Biden has come out and said, listen, I'm going to let kids come into my student loan program. The courts have said, listen, this is unlawful. They put a stop on the student loan forgiveness program. And Biden has basically said, listen, I'm going to let kids apply and they're going to have their loans forgiven. What's going on here?
Well, you're going to have a lot of frustrated college or post-college kids, because at the end of the day, we know that this was an overreach by the executive branch. You would need congressional action to take place. That's why you're seeing these judges block this program. And in essence, I think, this was a play for the Democrats to try to win these young voters in this midterm elections. It was completely a political play, but it's not the right thing to do when you're bailing out, these millions of college kids that a lot of them are graduate students who can literally pay their own way.
Liz, I spent 9 years in Congress, and one thing I learned is when you give people something for free, it's nearly impossible to take it away.
Right.
So is this what Biden's doing, is saying, listen, I'm going to actually give you the money and dare the courts to take this money away from this massive group of student loan borrowers and have the court and maybe Republicans deal with the backlash?
Yeah, and it'll be one more reason that Joe Biden's White House takes dead aim at the Supreme Court. There's going to be, it's Trump's court, right-wing court. This is what we get. All kinds of reasons why they want to change the complexion of the court, et cetera. But this will be another one. And yes, I think if they have enough people who have basically signed on and they've been told that their loans are forgiven, it's going to be very hard. But Sean, the Supreme Court has twice now knocked down situations where Joe Biden has extended executive privilege too broadly, and they will not allow this. I am convinced of that.
Well, I'm a big fan, whether you have a Republican or Democrat in the White House, the Congress needs to take back power and control.
Yes.
Too much authority in one person, in one executive. Hopefully, we'll get some more of that after January 3rd. Mercedes and Liz, thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much.